Hi, I'm music journalist Justin Kantor, and today I'd like to introduce to you the 2013 lineup of Taboo expanded CD reissues by UK-based Edsel Records. The S.O.S band catalog has been reissued in part at various times over the years, but this is the first time that the band's full 8-album catalog is being given the deluxe expanded CD reissue treatment with lots of bonus remixes and detailed historical essays written by yours truly, featuring all new interviews with band members Mary Davis, the lead vocalist, Abdul Rauf, the group's longtime horn player, male vocalist, and keyboardist, and founding member Jason Bryant, who also has played keyboards for the band over the years. So let's start with the group's first album, self-titled S.O.S, from 1980, featuring their worldwide smash single, Take Your Time, Do It Right. And as you can see, these deluxe editions feature some cool photos of the band. They weren't often seen back then because most of their album covers just have the band's logo on the front. But contained within this CD, in addition to that smash that I mentioned, you get the classic What's Wrong With Our Love Affair, as well as their theme song, sort of SOS dit 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 dash 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 dit dit dit. And you also get several alternate disco and radio mixes of Take Your Time, Do It Right, and the SOS tune I just mentioned, as well as What's Wrong With Our Love Affair. And the liner notes in this particular reissue I think you'll find interesting because I got to speak with Mary and Rauf about the group's beginnings in Atlanta on the club scene and how they came to be and go on to international success. They followed up S.O.S with 1981's 2, which featured their hit single Do It Now, as well as a personal favorite of mine called You, which was not actually a big hit for the group, but is notable to me because this was the first single that introduced Rauf on lead vocals. As you can see, again, you have the liner notes and band photos. You also get complete lyrics and credits, by the way, in all of these reissues. With the bonus tracks on this particular disc, I think it's really cool that there's a 12-inch version included of the song There Is No Limit, which was actually a B-side, kind of a reggae-tinged funk number in which Mary really belts it out. But an underrated album that's notable for also featuring a really cool cover of Unborn Child, and also some songs that didn't get much notice at the time, like Do You Know Where Your Children Are, and For the Brothers That Ain't Here, which is an instrumental tune that really showcases the skills of classic players in the band like bassist John Simpson and guitarist Bruno Spate. Next, in the S.O.S band catalog, we have the album 3. Now this was kind of the beginning of a turning point for the band because they had broken away from their initial producer, the late Szigeti, and they worked with famed producer Leon Silvers III of Dynasty, Whispers, production fame, along with Gene Dozier, who back in the 60s had worked with a lot of greats like the Sweet Inspirations and Al Wilson. And the best known song from this album is called High Hopes, which was really cool because it was written by Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, and this was actually their first composition to really achieve success, and also the first S.O.S single featuring Rauf on leads to really hit in kind of a big way. In addition, the beautiful slow jam Have It Your Way, also led by Rauf. So this was really interesting to speak with Rauf about the history of this album, and there's also on the bonus side of things with regard to this disc a special extended version of the instrumental Favorite Groovin' and a 12-inch version and 7-inch version of the B-side Good and Plenty, which is led by Jason Bryant, who's a very underrated vocalist in my opinion. So I think this is an especially exciting reissue for a lot of fans. Moving on to the group's fourth album, On the Rise, and this is from 1983. This is when they really kind of exploded onto a new level of the S.O.S band. Jam and Lewis took over production for half the album, and Gene Dozier remained on board for the other half. And of course this includes the worldwide smashes Tell Me If You Still Care and Just Be Good to Me, as well as For Your Love, which is also included in a 9-minute plus extended version, which is really cool. And I got the chance in particular to talk with Jason Bryant for this project at length about his history in the business, which is really fascinating and goes back a long way before even the S.O.S. band. So a really interesting mixture of sounds on this album. Moving on to the fifth S.O.S. band album, 1984's Just the Way You Like It. This one was again produced by Jim and Lewis in part, and then the S.O.S. band themselves produced some of the songs along with a guy, Stuart Hanley, who is now passed on, but a very talented writer and producer. And this includes the classics No One's Gonna Love You, Weekend Girl, Break Up, and the title track, Just the Way You Like It. And there are 5 bonus remixes on this particular CD, including the Like It Long mix of Just the Way You Like It, and a special edit version of I Don't Want Nobody Else, which is a wonderful ballad led by Jason Bryant, kind of in the style of the records he produced for the female group First Love around that time. And again, you get complete lyrics and the liner notes essay featuring, again, interviews with Raouf and Jason on this particular one. And to be still released in the series this year are Sands of Time, which you can see the original vinyl of over here. And then after that, the group went on, after Mary Davis left, to have female vocalist Chandra Currelley, as well as Freddie Grace for a time, in their albums Diamonds in the Raw, which you can see right here. That was in 1989, and that's still to be coming up in October of this year. And the group's last album, One of Many Nights, from 1991, will be reissued in this campaign as well. And lastly, I did want to also just tell you briefly about 2 other reissues in this series by an artist you may or may not be familiar with, but who's very talented nonetheless. Her name is Kathy Mathis, and she recorded 2 albums for Taboo Records in the late 80s. The first one is from 1987, called Catwalk, and it was produced by Stuart Hanley along with Stefan Perry, formerly of Magabrain. And this included an R&B hit called Late Night Hour, which is really great. A lot of great players on here. Fred Wesley, vocalist Penny Ford can be heard on the backings of a lot of these tracks, including the second single, Baby I'm Hooked. I got to speak with Kathy at length for the liner notes, which was really cool because I feel like her story hasn't been told that much. She's now, I'll give a little bit away, she's a successful minister, but it was really interesting to hear about her long-ranging history growing up around music and getting to the point of making this album. 4 bonus cuts on this particular album. And then her second album, Kathy's second album, A Woman's Touch, from 1988, produced by the dynamic team of Foster and McElroy, who of course went on to have phenomenal success as creators, producers, and chief songwriters of female quartet En Vogue, who had such a huge run for over 10 years. Anyway, they produced this whole album, and the first single off of it was called Men Have to Be Taught, which you can actually see the original music video of on my YouTube channel, Retro Rhythms. Also great songs like Got to Give It Up, which I believe Kathy co-wrote, and her interesting remakes of Deo, aka the Banana Boat song, and Love Don't Love Nobody, on which she actually plays piano. And the liner notes for this particular reissue, I had the wonderful opportunity to chat with not only Kathy, but also Foster and McElroy, who provided a lot of insight into their history. Of course, they came from Time X Social Club and all that, went on to do great things, so really great experience. And I'm very happy to be involved with these Taboo Reborn reissues. They're available from most Amazon sites, as well as other great music sites like Dusty Groove. You can also maybe see, I don't know if you can see behind me, this is a limited amount of titles from this series have been reissued on 180 gram vinyl pressings, including the S.O.S. Band 3. So I'm Justin Kantor, and thanks for hanging out with me and learning a little bit about these S.O.S. reissues, and I hope you enjoy them. Some really funky music on them, really great vocals, all around great musicianship, and I hope you learned something in the process of reading the liner notes and checking out the bonus tracks and all that good stuff. Peace.